Fulham preview, Paul from United Rantcast. Do you think there was an air of positivity about that Arsenal performance?
What a start, Gaz. What a leading question. I think an air of positivity is probably a bit strong. It was very good that we immediately scored both times they scored. But I think if you're looking at that performance, which you'd have to say was probably in the upper echelons of our performances this season and drawing like loads of really optimistic strands out of it, I'd be asking why you're not taking a broader context into context.
It felt a bit more fun, don't you think?
I think it was extremely fun. Like, it was a very fun game of football, like super fun. But part of the reason it was fun was because there was a lot of chaos. And, you know, Jose Mourinho said we've not got enough mad dogs. And I was like, wait a minute, Marcos Rojo. Like, what am I doing? I've got the maddest dog on the planet. So, like, having Marcos Rojo there is always going to make things fun in one way or another. And I thought that actually the bizarre formation ended up meaning that there were on occasions midfielders near Martial and Rashford, which that's got to be good, and that contributed positively. And I thought Diogo Dalot, who came in for loads of criticism I saw in a lot of different places, which I thought was quite odd. Like, maybe he made a few defensive errors, but I thought the outlet he provides on the right compared to what we've had recently, that's an enormous positive.
Also, one of the biggest negatives of our season so far, Adam, is obviously the defence and the amount of goals we've conceded. Did still concede 2 goals against Arsenal, but I thought the defence actually had quite a good game, do you think?
You can't say the defence had a good game when mistakes led to goals.
I know, but you could also argue that Rojo made a goal.
I think it's kind of saying like Manchester United were very good, kind of because it's a comparison to what we've seen in recent weeks. And that performance was better than Saturday against Southampton. So that's why people came out thinking it was amazing. Like, it wasn't amazing. I think if you took that 90 minutes in isolation and you said a 2-2 draw against Arsenal, what was a very entertaining game, then you'd think, you know what, that's not that bad if we'd been doing well. But we haven't been doing well. The remit's been to catch the top 4 all of a sudden. That's what the objectives are. And this was a chance to gain 3 points on Arsenal, one of those that are challenging for those top 4 spots, and we failed to do that. So ultimately, I felt like there were good signs from it in terms of, you know, players seeming to be more up for it, and I think that's a natural reaction if you pick the likes of Bailly and Rojo.
Exactly.
You know, if you have Lingard, Rashford, and Martial in a front 3, and you have Ander Herrera in your midfield. I think those kind of things are going to add to a little bit more energy in the team. I can't wait till we see Dalot and Shaw more often at fullback. And I think the extra centre-half did help our fullbacks in terms of getting forward. I think Dalot got criticism because he got caught a few times with players getting in behind him. But when he did get caught, he recovered well as well. I don't think there was a time when he got caught out and then they created a clear-cut goal-scoring opportunity from it. So whilst there were question marks over some things, you've got to take into account he was playing against a very good Arsenal side whose movement isn't going to be, you know, it's going to be one of the top 3-4 teams for movement in the Premier League. And if you're saying, you know, that's his level against them in first Premier League start, then it's not that bad at all. So I think there were positives to take from the game. But overall, I think it's just more of the same, isn't it? It's another 2 points dropped, really. Unfortunately.
Look, I'm going to say this before people in the comments start slating me, but I don't think that the performance against Arsenal was good enough. I just think it was slightly more positive than recent performances this season. I think the
commitment appeared to be better.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Like, people want to see people flying into challenges and and they automatically think that means players are committed more, or they want it more, or they have more passion for the shirt. I don't necessarily think that's the case.
But
I think when you see those things happening on the pitch, it's a more visible example of a player caring. Whereas if a player's, he might still care as much as Marcos Rojo, who's 2-footing everyone, but it looks different. Do you know what I mean? Like that. I don't think we should be measuring Manchester United on commitment levels. We should be measuring Manchester United on the football levels, because every single one of those players wants to win games. none of those players have come to Manchester United to all of a sudden think, oh, I ain't playing football. I don't want to win.
Right.
You're mad.
Yeah, but do you really think that every single player in our team is putting 100% in every game? Because I certainly don't. And one player I think is one of our best players, and one of the players who will obviously get criticised, and the reason we criticise him so much is because we know how good he can be, Paul Pogba. I don't think he tries anywhere near as hard as he should do on the pitch, and nowhere near as much as the likes of Eric Bailly and Marcos Rojo did on their return to the game against Arsenal.
See, I really don't. I'm not having that as an analysis of Pogba that he doesn't try. In fact, one of Pogba's big problems is that he tries too hard, like as in he's trying to make too much happen on his own. He's trying to show too much of what he's got sometimes. And one of the very few things that I agree with Mourinho on, apart from it was nice when he high-fived that kid, and also he said I have great respect for dogs. That was good as well. But
unfortunately, at that time he was talking about his players.
Well, he was, wasn't he? But the thing is, I do think there are occasions in which Pogba would benefit from taking a more simple option, but I understand why he's pushing it so hard, because so much rests on him. And I don't think that Pogba is completely blame-free for his own performances, far from it. But I do think if you are trying to get the very best out of an elite talent and you're not treating them in the manner which gets the best out of them, and you're trying to do it because you believe that you should be really hard on everyone because everyone should be a man and, you know, get through it like that, I think that is Pogba's performances are at least 70% down to absolutely atrocious man management. And if I were him, I might not be able to try my hardest every time.
We've all had bad bosses at some point in our life, and I just
but
don't...
We haven't,
Producer Chris is worried. But we have had bad bosses, and you still have to turn up and put it into your work. I'm not saying that a good boss wouldn't improve him. Exactly,
but when you're respectfully, none of us have ever had to perform at an absolutely elite level to be considered that we're doing our job.
Always do.
This is the thing about the kind of normal boss comparison. Yeah, we've all had to work hard with bosses that didn't get the best out of us, and we've had to do that ourselves, but we didn't have to do something that only like 0.005% of humans can do.
Paul, do you think that online that a fan's sort of attitude affects what goes on the pitch?
I really hope not. If I was a professional footballer, I wouldn't engage with social media beyond outputting stuff. I wouldn't be listening to feedback because it's too toxic. It's too lacking in any kind of nuance. It's just outright hostility or rampant support. And I'm not talking about everything that happens online. I'm talking about the kind of overwhelming signal to noise ratio. So if you're a 21st century footballer and you're letting stuff online, you're even engaging with stuff online about your own career, I think you're making a substantial mistake. And I think if you do, then yeah, I think that kind of toxicity is likely to affect performances. But I think it's much more accurate to say that United's performances are influencing online negativity than online negativity is influencing United's performances.
Very good point indeed, Paul. And it does feel like everyone online is either extreme one way or extreme the other, doesn't it? It seems like everyone seems to solely think it's Jose's fault, solely think it's Ed Woodward's fault, solely think it's the players' fault, when the reality is they're probably all right. Right, moving on.
Yeah. That's why I can praise Mourinho sometimes and criticize him sometimes. And that's why people that can't get that, or they can't get that I can criticize a Pogba performance and not think is the problem, make my mind just...
Adam, do you think that fans' online attitude affects players on the pitch?
I think some players do, yeah. I think players are only human. I think some don't. I think some do. I think if we take this channel, for example, you got Full-Time Devils. There's loads of people that come on here. Me, you, Dave, Housen, Paul, whoever. Some of us may read the comments. Some of us don't. Some of us may read the comments and feel offended by them, and then it will affect what we say next week or whatever. And some of us will read them and think, I don't care what they say. And I think that's what we see with players as well. I know for a fact some players watch things like Full-Time Devils and see what the fans say, and they want to like just see what's going on. And I'm sure they may get offended by some things, and they may really like some other things, but it's how you react to it, I think, which is the case with every human. We're all different. How you react to it, and that's, I think, something that Mourinho hasn't quite crashed yet either. Like, people react to things differently, and yeah, some players will, some players won't. But I'd like to think, and I'd like to hope that they don't take footballing opinions to heart, because ultimately, like,
they're not footballers.
Like, no, because like I think a certain way about Chris Smalling as a footballer, but if I met him, I haven't got a problem with him. I'm not going to say that to his face. I'm not going to be negative towards him, because ultimately, he's still one of my heroes. He plays for Manchester United, you know what I mean? So, like, it's a weird, like, you can criticize someone, and that's why I hope footballers see that as well. And I know some will and some won't, but it's like, you've got to be able to take criticism if it's purely footballing.
Hello
but
to
on the internet, some people go too far.
Hello to Jesse, Marcus and Luke, by the way, if you are watching. Right, move on. Let's talk about one player in particular who returned to the Manchester United squad against Arsenal. I thought he had the most Marcos Rojo performance ever. Paul, what did you think of him?
Honestly, 10 Marcos Rojos out of 10. Who was it? It was McManaman doing co-coms. And like, when he did that shot and then the tackle, a 2-footer in the box, McManaman goes, "Oh, there's nothing in that." And I was like, he's just absolutely 2-footed a man about 12 minutes after he's got rid of the ball. And then, of course, there's the mistake for the goal. And you're like, oh, yeah, Marcos Rojo. Like, he's just, every facet of his character, unnecessary shots from distance, check. Random 2-footers, check. Really good defensive moments, check. Absolute brain freeze resulting in a goal against, check. So, yeah, full Rocco. It's nice to have him back because he is fun. No question about that.
I feel like I have a special place in my heart for any defender who's willing to take a 40-yard shot. I don't know what it is.
I think playing on the left of a back three really suits him, because when he plays at left back, I just think he's a generally terrible left back. I think he's there's something about the way he gets forward when he's like the furthest player out wide that just doesn't work. But actually, when he's playing in a back three, and clearly the two centre backs that weren't Smalling did have some license to get forward in that system, and actually him being sort of in the half space on the left in the attacking capacities is sort of pretty useful. So I do think that position suits him pretty well.
You know, I put it on Twitter, and I'll be totally honest, I was 90% joking, but the idea is still quite funny. Adam, would you go for Bailly and Rojo as a centre-back partnership going forward?
When Lindelof's fit, I'd partner one of them with Lindelof. But right now, let's do it.
Well, hang on, I was joking. That would be insane.
No. Listen to me. We're not going top 4. Let's just, everyone at home, accept it. Top 4 is done. The only way we're in the Champions League next season is if we win it this season. It's done. And while we're on that note, if we're not making Champions League, which we're not, let's not make Europa League as well, and give a new manager you just go win the Premier League. Anyway, more about that on another day. Marcos Rojo, what a man. I love him. He makes me smile, yeah. Like Paul said, let's get out of the way. He made mistakes. He was awful for the goal. But again, there were times when he was absolutely Rojo, and he's fun to watch, man.
He took the free kick as well for the first goal.
We are that Gordon Ramsay meme right now, because if Phil Jones had put in that performance and given away the ball for that goal, no, it's been at our club so long, he's rubbish, get him out of
Marcos
it.
Rojo.
We've become self-aware.
Both goals, ladies and gentlemen. Both goals. Let's just get that out there. And you know what I think it is, yeah? It's because we've seen Smalling and Jones make the same mistakes for so long. Marcos Rojo has been inconsistent, unreliable. But when you look at the facts, it's mainly been because of his injuries.
I just love I love the idea that this is better because he makes different mistakes every time. Smalling and Jones make the same one. But Marcos Rojo's got some really funny mistakes in it.
It's because we've seen it so much. We've seen it since 2000. And I don't know how old I was when I started seeing Smalling and Jones make mistakes. like it's only been the last 3 years, 4 years. And for half of that time, he's been injured. And for half of the other time, he's been cracking me up, making toast online, in everyone. Have you seen that video of him just firing things over the bar? It's most of the videos are for Argentina, so he basically just takes 3 steps off the 18-yard box and just shoots every single time. It's a beautiful thing to watch. He hasn't scored yet, but one day it's going to happen, and when it does happen, I'm getting on the pitch.
We've safely established that he is mental, and we do kind of love it.
Early at home, but I'm going to get on the pitch. Look, he's not. We need to play Bailly and Lindelof. One
I would do.
Hot sauce guys and one of the cool guys. Play those two and get something working. I think Smalling's better when he's got more defenders around him. Like Paul said, he was a little bit better having just them two go and him sitting back yesterday. But again, like none of our defenders are really all that. Bailly and Lindelof could be though.
Moving on then, predicted 11s for the Fulham game. Paul, who would you start?
Nah, wait a minute. That's a trick question, that is, because my predicted 11 and who would I start? that is definitely column A and column B.
Okay, predicted 11 then.
Yeah, that's the game, innit? I'm trying to claw back points to Dale, 9.2 after 5 appearances. Not enough's been talked about that. That is absolutely remarkable scenes.
I think last game as well, the last preview, it threw a lot of people's scores out the window. I don't think many people got higher than a 7 in that one.
I was quite glad I wasn't able to do that one in the end. So, David Nett, I guess Delo again. I hope Delo again. Smalling, Rocco, Young. That's just. I'm guessing we're not going to play 3 at the back against Fulham at home. We're at home, right? Yeah, good. Otherwise, I'd have had to, because we did play 6 at the back if we were away. So yeah, Dalot, Smalling, Rojo, Young. Is Pogba still a virus on the touchline? Like, if you know, the word agenda gets bandied around a lot in football, but if you want to see what an agenda actually looks like, you see a manager in a press conference hinting that some midfielders probably need to keep it simpler. Then that manager's go-to journalist publishes an article that evening saying that the manager called the player a virus in private. That's what an agenda actually looks like.
Get that tinfoil hat off, Paul. This isn't InfoWars. We're not here for conspiracy theories. We want facts.
But
everything I just said was a fact.
Probably was, wasn't it?
Factually, I guess Pogba will still be on the bad list, the no prezzies from Santa list. Herrera, Matic, Fred. I'm not confident. And then, assuming Martial's not playing, this is recorded before the press conference, so assuming Martial's injured, then Lingard, Lukaku, Rashford. But I'd have, I think Martial will play if he's fit.
Yeah,
over Rashford.
All the guys' teams, remember, we're recording this with all the injury information that we have right now at this moment. Adam, what's your starting 11?
David De Gea in goal, Delo. Luke Shaw's available now, isn't he? Because he was just suspended, wasn't he? Luke Shaw was suspended, right?
He's doubtful from injury as well, apparently. That's why I haven't got him in my 11.
Was injured, yeah. I'm going to go with him anyway, just risk it, try and get a point. I think he'll be available. Don't know why I think he'll be available, but I'm just making that up. Luke Shaw at left back. I would go with Bailly and probably... He's going to go with Bailly and Smalling. Maybe. Bailly showed... Come on. You know what Bailly showed?
He showed that he
is being for keeping me out of the team, of little personal agenda that he's got, just because he wants to prove a point, but he cares about the team, obviously. Bailly there. Matic is going to start again. I'm assuming Steve McManaman's going to be on Jose's Christmas card list in man of the match. He's just giving him an excuse to start him for the next 4 weeks. I'll go with Pogba returning.
I think he will.
I'd like to see Herrera start again, and that would mean he's getting a run in the team. But I don't think he will. We'll probably see Fred come in for a game, like on those rare starts, which is useful. And then Lingard should play. You see when Lukaku come on and Fellaini come on, goal threat died. Sorry, let me speak English. Goal threat died. And if Martial's injured, we're going to have to go with Lukaku. And that worries me a little bit, because what we're going to see, we'll talk about Fulham later, is a very organised defensive line. So I'll go with Lingard, Lukaku, Rashford. Rashford's been very good recently.
You know what? I've just remembered as well. It was Fulham that we played under Moyes, wasn't it? Was it Fulham with the 167 crosses?
81 crosses.
81 crosses. Insane.
What a night.
No. Paul, what threat do Fulham pose to us?
Well, Mitrovic has somehow got 7 goals. Have any of our players got 7 goals?
Martial.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go. So
he's as good as Mitrovic.
Yeah, somehow he's got 7 goals, in spite of the fact that that's like almost half of Fulham's goals, because they've only scored 15 overall, and they've let in 36, which means, like us, they have negative goal difference. But theirs is a little bit worse. They're bottom of the league, and I know they've brought in a new manager since then. But they haven't won yet under the new manager. Oh, they have, didn't they? They beat Southampton.
Unless
we could.
Sorry, they beat Leicester the day we drew against Arsenal.
Yeah, in the League Cup on pens, right? Oh no.
Oh, League.
I thought that was 1-1 that game.
They beat Leicester yesterday, I'm sure. Ranieri smiling, I think.
Hey Siri, what score did Fulham finish?
1-1. Yeah, it was 1-1.
Sorry, Paul.
No, that's all right.
Interrupted for no reason.
No problem. I wasn't going mad, which is a relief. Ranieri, you said you saw Ranieri smiling. Ranieri doesn't have to win to smile. He's just walking around going, I won the league with Leicester. I'm set. I'm just doing this for fun. It's Fulham, it's by the river, it's nice, get a good latte, good Italian food. Like, I'm happy. I won the league with Leicester. Dilly ding, dilly dong. The fact is, Fulham's threat is a very physical centre forward who definitely has it in him to cause some damage. I mean, Andre Schürrle they signed in the summer, signed Jean-Michel Seri, who's quite permanently linked to United for ages. One of those players that was just linked to everyone because he was sort of upper mid-tier player. He's struggled a bit to adapt to the Premier League, I would say, but we should not be talking about the team with, a minus 25 goal difference or whatever it is in terms of their threats to us. We should be talking about this being a team that rock up and we absolutely batter. But of course, we're in no position to talk about other teams in those terms at the moment.
Adam, Fulham just slightly worse than us, despite being bottom of the league. That says everything, doesn't it? Do they hold any threat against us?
Well, we've seen a little bit of a reaction to their new manager. And I think, obviously, Paul mentioned the players that they have going forward in Schürrle and Mitrovic. If they play to literally just have 8 sitting or 7 sitting and let those guys break, they have the ability to cause us problems. So we have to be aware of that. And we played Crystal Palace, who were in dreadful form at that time, and I think they still are. We played Southampton, dreadful form, just before their manager got sacked. And we didn't get results against those sides. Now, we did see a better performance against Arsenal, just a little bit better. It was like a little bit. So this is a big game that we have to win. It's as simple as that. And I'm not as confident as I should be going into this, which is weird, because like Paul said, this is a side that bottom of the table, minus whatever, goal difference. But if they beat us, they're 11 points behind us. So what does that say about us? And if we don't win, we could be 10th. So we're not all that ourselves.
We're definitely not all that. And I think we'll win this game. I do think we're going to win this game, but like, I definitely thought we'd beat Palace, and I definitely thought we'd beat Southampton too. And you know, when we had negative goal difference after 12 games, that was the first time since 1977-78 that we'd had negative goal difference after 12 games. So we're not just talking about Fergie here, we're talking about way before that. And now it's 3 games later. 3 games, and 2 of them extremely winnable, and one of them against Arsenal at Old Trafford, which, like, all joking aside, think about our history of Arsenal at Old Trafford in recent years. Like, we beat them with the under-18s a couple of seasons ago. So
beat them with Moyes.
And also, let's not forget the classic team that Fergie put out, that team that ended up getting the win against them as well, which was hilariously bad.
Both the Silver Twins, one on each flank. Wow, that's one of my favourite games ever, by the way.
Cannon's kick-ups.
Ridiculous. Right, Paul, you said you think we can get the win. What score do you think it's going to be?
Wow, you said... the fact that I said I think we can get the win against Fulham, the team that's bottom of the table at home, I'm going to go with an optimistic 2-0, because I totally agree with Adam, by the way. Those substitutions were a disgrace. Again.
Adam, what do you reckon, mate? What score?
Now, apparently so, whenever I predict a draw, it's me being negative, and I need to be more positive. And given the evidence of the last 3 games, I predicted draws in every one of them, and it's been a draw. So if that is the theory in the YouTube comments, and YouTube comments are always right.
They are.
Oh, God.
I'm going 3-0 United.
I tell you something, if YouTube comments are always right, then I've just become very self-conscious. All right, guys, thanks for joining us for the preview. Get in the comments. We do have a WhatsApp channel available now, by the way. You can subscribe below. Adam's done a vlog, by the way, at the Arsenal game. You can check that out in the description below. It's great. And Paul is, of course, on the best gosh darn Manchester United podcast on the internet. We will be doing fan cams at the Fulham game. Hopefully we can get the win against the mighty Fulham. We'll see you there. Laters.